Armory is like 1-3 to 1 in this matchup or something like
Yeah,
that.
which is weird, but
Yeah, I mean, even if TJP is favored, they might only be like 53%
yeah,
or something.
it's a small sample size.
Yeah, and when we say favorite or underdog, most of these decks are not built to be like 60% favorites. They're
Yeah,
very much,
exactly. These are
you
all
know,
really close matchups.
Jund-esque or whatever, where it's just like good stuff that matches up nicely in spots. All right, so we're getting queued up. Oh, we're live. Sweet. There we go. So, anyways, we've got the final round of today. Yeah, we're already discussing the match, anyways, because we never stop talking about Eternal here at the Eternal Tournament Series. This is the final round of coverage, though. Losers bracket round 4, and we've got a doozy of a matchup here. Moosh on Cambrai Party or whatever the hell you want to call it, up against Tony G on Armory. Loser goes home. Winner locks top 8 and gets to play tomorrow. So, yeah. What do you think of this matchup? We've seen it a few times already today. So far, Armory's been coming out on top in most cases, even though we thought maybe the Cambrai Party deck was favored.
I still think that the TJP deck is favored.
Yeah,
And every time
sure.
I've said that, Tony has won. So I'm going to keep saying that in hopes that Tony wins.
Oh, you're picking a side here. All right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I was saying, you might be able to pick a favorite here, but ultimately it's probably close to 50-50 anyways. So, here we go. Looks like this match is going underway. We'll jump in, catch all the action from Tony's perspective. We'll have Moosh's hand up on screen, though, as players resolve mulligans. And Tony G doesn't have any justice yet, but it's got some torches to deal with the early plays that Moosh could present.
Yeah, Tony G doing his best Stone Scar mid-range impression. Meanwhile, Moosh is playing Shimmer Pack over there. So this is just really interesting. I think that this is not really the hand that Moosh wants to have against Armory, just because sure, Amber Acolyte and stuff, those are kind of cool against Armory, just having extra bodies, but not having actual threats and having Crystallize is not where you want to be.
Wait, okay, yeah, sure. Anyways, Moosh is developing power. Yeah, does not have good threats. Tony G has all the time in the world to dirtle, but still doesn't have the
Yeah.
fixing yet. So he's probably tearing out his hair right now about how bad his hand is. But as long as Moosh hasn't presented a real clock, Tony G will be all right. But what was that about Shimmer Packs?
I just that Moosh has basically only played Amber Acolytes and Initiates.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No Shimmer Packs though, right? Just the obelisks and stand togethers to bolster him. So not quite as scary as Tony G continues to whiff on Justice Source. So not in a rush, but would still like to find it at some point as Moosh, doesn't have a threatening board yet, but this Xenon Obelisk makes it that much more scarier.
Yeah, now he actually has to use Torch on these cards that already got Moosh value.
Yeah. And so Moosh draw for that turn was Kothon, but that's not coming out this turn as Obelisk was the play that turn. Tony G finds another double justice card, and this just might be Moosh has no fear of harsh rules. It's at least 2 turns away. He can play whatever he wants out here as Tony G won't be able to do anything about it. Vanquish the draw, and this is not looking good.
Yeah, this is over, right? What can even if he draws Justice here, he can remove 1 unit and he still takes lethal.
Yeah, he'll be able to vanquish and sword, but you're dead. So yeah, there's the justice source. It's depleted, so you only get to even use vanquish, and that is game 1. That's it.
Turns out,
faction deck.
Stone Scar midrange running a bunch of justice cards, not very good.
Yeah. Well, it might have been good if you had your Stone Scar mid-range plays.
Yeah.
Maybe if Maidens and some other things came out there, or Death Strikes or something, we might have had a different game. But instead, it's the uncastables as Tony G goes down game 1, and now, he wasn't favored in game 1 anyways, right? So now we get to go to game 2 after player sideboard here. But those awkward crystallizes that you alluded to, those get to come out, and instead things like Island Shores or Backlash staying together. We even saw Auric Runehammer come in before post-board in this matchup, and also that Dastardly Humbug Swarm. So just more threats, more ways to protect them, and less dead cards come in for this Cambrai Party. But I don't know. The Armory side also gets to streamline their game plan and bring in stuff like Copperhall Bailiff.
Yeah, I think it's a little better for TJP post board, but like we saw when Tony won, Cabral Bailiff does a lot of work surprisingly. You wouldn't think it does, but it definitely helps against scouting party and just popping Aegis.
I mean, I would never underestimate a Minotaur with those kind of muscles, so can't say I'm too surprised. But here we go. Looks like the next game is underway. Both players are pretty well versed in this matchup through testing and the tournament so far. So the action is underway as players, resolve mulligans and deploy their power.
You mentioned the uncastables. I have to say that sounds like a pretty good card game themed horror movie title.
Yeah, it's appropriate for this time of year as Tony G opens on Seek Power. Doesn't have double justice this time, but still has a lot of things that he can play as Rakano Artisan, Sword of Ikaria, Courier all in hand. Moosh, though, gets to open on Initiate. The Initiate survives, and now he gets to play out either a Valkyrie or just continue to develop power with Acolyte.
Yeah, I really like being able to get value off of Sword of Ikaria in this matchup when you can, because it's just so difficult as the game goes on.
Mm-hmm. So Sword of Ikaria will take out the Initiate, set Moosh back some power, but Moosh can still cast most of the cards in hand, but notably can't cast the Auric Runehammer, which would have been a huge swing here as it would have played out a weapon and taken out Tony G's weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. And Quarry's going to be really great here for Tony as well. Moosh's board though, his hand is going to develop just fine. Like he has a Runehammer to deal with, something like a Throne Warden or this Rakano Artisan, and then he's just got nice threats to back it up across the curve at 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, it's just the issue here is whatever he plays right this turn is going to die to this Sword of Ikaria, and we see that happen as Kodhan is chosen as the sacrifice. Quarry comes out, and will Quarry get to discard a... No, all right. If it's taking this long, it means it's not going to do the sweetness that is known as discarding Privilege of Rank and drawing you a card and drawing 2 Justice
Yeah.
Sigils. So instead, Tony's got a tough choice, gets the depleted Seat of Vengeance, throws away a Rise to the Challenge.
And that's the responsible choice there. I mean, of course, now he's going to be punished and draw only power for the rest of the game, because that's how that always goes. But the responsible choice nonetheless.
Yeah, and I guess... Did Tony G play power before playing Quarry there? Is that what happened? Or did he just not play power that turn? I don't...
Yeah,
he must have played power before Quarry is what happened. So
let me see what is in the history.
I don't know why he would hold the seats and it would have let him. So yeah, he was on the play this game. He just played the sigil instead of playing the seat there because he didn't know he was going to draw the seat, and that could end up being a big deal here. Can't use Harsh Rule, going to use Slay instead. I don't think that really changes too much, really.
Yeah, I think he actually doesn't mind that at all.
Yeah, I think he would have used Slay here anyway, so not a big deal. Here comes the hammer, though, and Tony G does not have an answer to this angle.
It doesn't have an answer, but he does now have all of his influence, which is really, really good for him, and also very different from last game. So we're gonna definitely see this be a lot more two-sided.
Yeah. So Tony G, if it draws undepleted power, can cast Ikaria. So really just doesn't want to see depleted power here. That's the one kind of whiff. Anything else could be at least something to do. But getting Ikaria down here would be huge for Tony. And as Moosh debates on how much more he wants to dedicate to this board in the face of Tony G doing nothing on 6.
Yeah, wow. So Tony G is still going to take 4 here. He plays Ikaria, though, and Moosh has an answer for it. Now, to be fair, he's still, Tony G's still getting in Warcry 5 and getting rid of the Runehammer. But it's not sealing up the game.
Yeah, and we'll see what Moosh draws here. He may opt to just dedicate another 3/3 flyer to this board, try and protect this hammer from weapons, and then that would leave him without an answer to an Ikaria. So
True.
Yeah, the draw for turn is just a Diplo seal, and Moosh has to decide: do I, waste this 3/3 flyer, but I get to protect my hammer? And that's what happens. And now he does not have a clean answer to this Ikaria that comes in.
Yeah, wow. Now Tony G is in an amazing position with this 6/6 Throne Warden. That's going to put him at a much more comfortable life total, as well as having a large Aegis unit that's going to be very difficult for Moosh to deal with because it, trades with Carnosaur, um, and things like that. Are they playing Carnosaur? Sorry, I just said that without thinking about it. They are
Yeah,
not.
no, they're not playing
They're not.
anything like triple time.
Yeah,
They have Humbug Swarm.
yeah, but yeah, they do have. It does, block some bigger units after Obelisk and does survive a Crystallize. Those are the big things.
All right. Well, I've lost sight of Moosh's hand,
Yeah, I
having
have as well.
some connection issues, but hopefully Moosh is still connected to the game and isn't falling off the face of the internet Earth here. But we'll see what that top deck is. We already know the Vanquish is in hand, a Diplo Seal is in hand. It's really what could Moosh draw here to get him out of this tight spot. This Akari is just going to be applying a ton of pressure. And as you said, Tony G even has another good follow up with his Throne Warden.
Yeah. Internet Earth being very similar to regular Earth, but just with more anime.
Yeah, but it looks like it is a disconnect issue. So hopefully Moosh comes back here. We'll give him some time to reconnect. I don't know what the official rules are here as far as timing for a reconnect in a match. But Tony G's sitting in a pretty good spot regardless here.
Yeah, I don't think it's holding anything up too much. So I think we have a little bit of time. I don't believe there are any results in from the rest of the bracket yet either. So, but what are the matchups that are happening? We have the Bruised Combrei Mirror, one with Harsh Rule and one without. Then we
Is that
have
Haidar Komodo?
Yeah, that's Haidar Komodo. Then we have Serb on Argenport versus Tobu on TJP. And that is the TJP deck was selected because it supposedly has a very good matchup against Argenport. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Tobu push Serb out of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Sarius versus Unearthly, same matchup.
Yeah.
But Unearthly has already defeated TJP twice, I believe. Or was Tatsumaki on challenge?
Unearthly has had a
Beaten it
got,
once.
lost to Lights Out Ace. What was Ilya on? Was Ilya on TJP?
On TJP, yeah.
Okay, so that's the only TJP Unearthly has played against. Now he did play against Chalice, but that's a different kind of TJP. But it looks like Moosh is reconnecting here. We see he's logging in, hopefully getting back into this.
Oh, got his email.
so yeah, Unearthly's had a very weird run through the tournament. So he's actually hasn't faced a duplicate deck until this round versus Visarius. He played TJP only once, and that was Ilya K in losers bracket round 1. Other than that, had Darkness, who was on Jito, Tatsumaki, who was on Chalice, and Lights Out Ace in the very first round, who was on Xenon. But here we go. The draw for turn for Moosh was Seek Power. So Tony G is in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, Tony G gonna be pretty happy to play out a Throne Warden. Not excited that he has 2 Harsh Rules in hand with these giant threats on the board, but I think he'll be okay with winning the game.
Yeah, and if he draws any unit or weapon, this game's basically over. It already has a Warcry 10 on it. So Moosh is way, way, way behind on the 8 ball here. Going to need an absolute miracle to pull it out, and instead sees a time sigil. Yep. And the concession
for Moosh to win that, he needed like a threat, and then for Tony G to play like a giant Rakano Artisan and just get it vanquished. But I just still have to deal with Ikaria, still have to deal with Throne Warden, and it's too much.
We're sounding like a broken record here, right? These other mid-range decks can have a little bit of problem coming back on a board once it snowballs in the other deck's favor. Armory doesn't have that problem. They have Harsh Rule.
Yeah.
So once Armory gets ahead, it's probably going to stay ahead in this matchup. It's not like these TJP lists have something on the order of Great Parliament to swing back control of the board. Although
they do have Scouting Party. They do have Scouting Party and Humbug Storm.
Yeah, those at least do a reasonable impression, especially once the obelisks are out. But no obelisk there from Moosh, nothing else to it, and we're going to go to game 3.
Yeah, absolutely. In order for this matchup for TJP to have the comeback potential if they get behind, you really have to develop those obelisks in the early to mid game.
Yeah, that is one of the biggest cards in this matchup. That and stand together, right? Either keep your board or have an ability to reload a very threatening board. That's the key for this matchup. And yeah, if this TJP list isn't finding obelisk, they're going to really struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so both players has gone back to their sideboard for a minute. Um, so we talked about it really briefly, but what besides, so we have the two bailiffs, and we have, oh yeah, I forgot, the furnace mages could potentially come in from Tony G, and we saw that last time when we were watching Roland, I believe, play against
Yeah.
this matchup, and it was actually decent, but I think they're back in the game. So we're gonna see what Tony G's plan is versus Obelisk, if he did bring in Furnace Mage or not, because we haven't seen it yet. And this, I like this hand from Tony G.
Oh yeah, it's got double justice. It's got an early game presence with Torch and Rakano Artisan. I mean, it doesn't have double justice yet, but we can assume that the Seek Power is going to find a justice source at some point. Although with the Argenport banner, maybe he'll opt to go for double fire development off of this Seek Power as we get more info. And yeah, on Musha's side, that's a slow roller if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Titan is definitely one of the units you want versus Armory because of how resistant it is to all of the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And it also lives through this torch, which I'm surprised a little bit to see post board, but I suppose it does kill Kothon, Awakened Student, and
Yeah.
Valkyrie Enforcer, and every single card except for Titan.
you,
So
you need it
maybe
early
less
game.
surprising.
Yeah, it's important to be able to take out those units before they get stood together or
Yeah.
obelisk or something like that. And yeah, Tony G with the dreaded double shadow sigil draw is probably a little frustrating there, but still going to get to play out most of his cards and just it's just this Akaria might be stranded longer than you want. And double
Uh-oh.
furnace mage. Oh man, these Titans might get out of control here. Moosh has the stand together, and once he sees a Furnace Mage come out, that's kind of a big green light that at least Tony G doesn't have Harsh Rule in hand yet. So now Moosh could get greedy here and go with the second Titan and try and set up a crazy stand together. But there's some other lines of play here too. You could
Not
just
that
go
greedy.
Vanquish, hold up, stand together is kind of a nice hedge way. But
He
we'll
could also
see
just
what
attack
happens.
and try and blow Tony G out with Stand Together. Um,
Yeah, but then he
which
can torch and
yeah, torch,
respond.
exactly.
Yeah. And Musha sniffed that out. There's been a lot of pauses. So yeah, we see the Vanquish stand gets held up. Tony G finds another Justice Source, doesn't have triple fire yet, but a little bit closer to unlocking this Sicario, which can't do a whole lot while this Sandstorm Titan's in play.
Yeah, this is not looking great for Tony. The Furnace Mages were not what he wanted to see. He felt comfortable playing the first one because it
Mhm.
meant, he still had the second one if Obelisk came down. But now, if he plays this Furnace Mage, he's just going to be in a lot of trouble if an Obelisk comes down. The 4/3 vanilla body not going to make much of an impact, and he's still not going to be able to get through with Akaria.
Yeah, this hand from Tony G is good against most of the TJP draws. It's just this draw happened to be Sandstorm Titan, and Tony G somehow didn't have any Vanquishes or Slays for it. Here
Or
comes the
Harsh Rule.
Torch for this 3/3, and Moosh will just fire off the stand together, get a 4/4. And Smuggler Stash with no weapon targets is not a good Smuggler Stash.
Yeah, wow. What?
Armory
What?
not living up to its name here. 0 weapons drawn so far.
Yeah, definitely not doing what it wants to do here.
Yep, Vanquish will take down this board in conjunction with Auric Runehammer. And Tony G's got a handful of uncastable Akaria that can't swing into an Aegis Titan and a Smuggler Stash that doesn't do a whole lot
Yeah,
here
that's
either.
game.
Yeah, Akaria can come out, but he's going to have to chump block and then the hammer comes through. So Moosh has this.
So we're finally gonna see Tony G fall to TJP. He worked through a lot of this, but that's the end of his tournament run. That's what is this, top 16?
Oh yeah, he's top 12, I think would be
Top 12, yeah.
yeah. So he gets a good amount of points here and all that fun stuff. But I don't see a way out of it. If he does, he's a wizard, that's for sure. And
Yeah.
there's the scoop.
And we're not playing Magic stuff.
Mm-hmm. So there you have it, man. I thought Tony G's like fixing was going to work out. We'd be able to curve out into Akaria, but just did not have the stuff in the mid game. Those Furnace Mage useful for taking out Obelisk, but not so useful in the face of an opponent with Titans and Vanquishes. Just lined up perfectly there.
Yeah, that's the problem with reactive cards is that against such a proactive deck, if you have the wrong reactive cards, you just get completely blown out.
Yep, and that's what this TJP deck was doing, playing both kind of big singular threats like Titan and growing Awakened students, but also has that ability to go wide with Obelisk and Scouting Party and all sorts of things in between. And we see the problems that can present to a deck like Armory there. You know, no Vanquishes drawn by Armory, no Slays, no weapons. So it's just these torches and Furnace Mages because you have to respect the Obelisk, and it just did not work out that game.
Yeah.
So with that, I think we will be wrapping up. Are we moving into any kind of backup matches here? We just got the Visarius took out Unearthly. So again, Moosh advances to top 8. So that's one TJP list in the top 8. Visarius makes it 2, or actually 3 already, because Defter was also in top 8.
Yeah.
So let's see here. We are trying to get one more backup matchup into play here before we close up today's coverage. And it looks like it'll be Serb versus Tabu. And we're hopping in from Tabu's perspective. I believe Serb is on Argenport mid-range. But we'll see as we jump in here. And then Tabu is another one of our TJP players. And yeah, so that's what we've got.
This is Serb on his more Thundershot style Argenport deck with the Tranquil Scholars, as opposed to Unearthly, who had the more traditional version, and he was running Tinker Overseer rather than Interrogator. So more of an aggressive, evasive build, similar to the original Bruised by God type Argenport before Tavrod came out.
Yeah, of course, this Argenport is still playing Tavrod. Oh, that first Triangle Scholar got the one hit you don't usually love to see. That's Overwhelm. Pending Doom had Overwhelm, which is cute, but not great, you know, doubling up on that evasion. This Scholar hit Warcry, and we're working on getting a hand cam for Serb. We don't know what's lurking in there. We do know he doesn't have Double Justice yet, and I imagine that's holding up quite a number of cards in hand. In the meantime, that Runehammer comes down from Tabu. Tabu doing his best Argenport impression there with the Runehammer. And a Slay will come out on Seraph. But again, this has been the story of some of these mid-range decks. Once you get behind, it's hard to catch up, as now this Runehammer is going to spiral things out of control. Enforcer comes down. Tabu gets to hold up Island's Choice. Although that doesn't really counter a whole lot out of Serb, but if Serb has a Death Strike here to use, it's going to be curtains for him. Instead, it's another Shadow Source. Serb does not have that Double Justice yet, and even though we can't see their hand, I am certain that is an issue here, as now the draw for turn is Sandstorm Titan for Tabu, gets to deploy that, hold up Island's Choice, and I don't see a way of Argenport getting out of this spot.
Yeah, that Argenport is, when we just have the sea of mid-range decks, a big lack of Harsh Rule, and a lot of, you know, getting ahead and staying ahead.
Okay, so I'm guessing that was game 3. But oh no, that was game 2. We are going to game 3. Serb was up 1-0.
Wow.
So now we are tied up 1-1. So this is a do or die game here. We are about to go into a decider game.
Yeah, and I'm getting word from production that Tobu, if he wins this match, he will be, I believe, locked for Worlds. I'm not exactly sure, but I know he'll tie with 2 other players that are in contention.
All right, so a lot riding on this match. Again, all of these matches, we're in the loser's bracket. Okay, not locked for Worlds is what we're getting, but
okay, I see.
Looks like we'll
be in contention for 8th seed.
All right, Tabu. Boom. All right, so back in the game we go. Tabu's got a bit of a slow start, but a consistent hand, right? It's got an answer to a big problem with Vanquish. It's got all the fixing it once with Amber Acolyte and 3 different sigils, and it's got an Obelisk, which can be nice if you get ahead on board here.
Yeah, absolutely. Tobu, yeah, I wish I could see what was in Serb's hand, because there's so many ways this matchup can play out.
Well,
Uh,
Serb gets that all important first unit on board. Instigator is out on turn 2, and Tabu finds that 2-drop, but turn too late. So Kothon will have to make his impact felt later as Seraph comes out here. The big thing, though, is that Tabu is on the play, and that interaction against Hammer when you're playing an Obelisk deck is huge. I don't know if Serb's hand is Hammer or not, or if he's got the go ahead to slay the Seraph or something. But if that's not the case, getting the Seraph to 4/5 could be big as this Instigator comes in and we see what happens.
so next turn, next turn, Obelisk is really tempting from Tobu's side.
Yeah.
Definitely, like you just said, Vanquish is a card, but
Yeah. So it's Hammer.
yeah,
It's a tough spot to
really
figure out.
tough.
But we'll see. I mean, Tabu's got time to decide that. We'll also have the benefit of seeing one more card before Tabu decides what to play, and also what Serb does here, right? The
Yeah,
swinging from Instigator into a 3/4 kind of tells you Vera's favor.
yeah, absolutely. That's what it's telegraphing for me, especially when he's stuck on 2 and he really just wants to get power down. So,
Well, yeah.
I mean, not
Well,
stuck. It's turn 2.
right. Or turn 3. So I don't think Tabu or Serb is playing anything like Finest Hour as a bluff, but I could be wrong on that call. No, zero Finest Hour. So just repping Vera's favor, and Tobu doesn't want to trade Seraph for Instigator and favor there, opts to let the damage come through, and that lets Bart come down.
So I think I'm really favored to play the Obelisk here because it lines up with Amber Acolyte and Vanquish, or Amber Acolyte and Kothon next turn, and
Yeah.
he has the Varus favor, so you can at least play around that. Whereas you don't know if he has Vanquish.
Yep. So goes with Seraph, but opts to hold back. So that means if this Instigator comes in again, your Seraph could be exposed to Hammer here, but it's naturally exposed to Vanquish as well. And we'll see what Serb does. Plays depleted power, and Vanquish comes out.
Yep, can't play around everything, and
Yep.
had the Vanquish.
Yeah, that's why I would have thought about swinging with Seraph there, but ultimately not what happens. And now we'll just see Acolyte Kothon come down here.
Do you think he's going to go for the Primal and just hope to draw the time, or no, he's going to grab the time? All right.
Yeah, the Primal would be just for what? Crystallize? Does that
Yeah,
even
just
stay in
Crystallize.
this matchup?
Probably not.
Like, it's not like Argenport's playing for a board stall. They're either going to get a big unit with a weapon and kill you, or they're not. So yeah, we see the Acolyte come out. They use the Diplo seal instead of the Sigil. That gives Serb a little bit of information, but it doesn't really matter as he hits this 5th power. And we'll see what comes out. Suffocation
Oh, wow.
on the Kothon. That's a cheap answer. And Serb might have another follow-up here and going to have total control of this board.
Yeah, that's a big turn.
Mhm.
Kothon would have been a huge clock going forward, but now at least
Ooh,
Tobu has Awakened Student into double Vanquish for this
yeah.
Bart.
Yeah, Bart does eat 2 vanquishes though. So if Serb has a follow-up like say,
Bloodletter.
Tavrod,
Yeah, Tavrod.
the way might be cleared for that, but Tabu will at least have decent blockers for that. But you still have to use the double
Yeah.
vanquish here on Bart. I don't think it's really an option to take another 6 here while your opponent has an Instigator in play as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what there is to be considered. There's the option of dying and not dying. Basically, you can't race the lifesteal Bart.
Yeah, if you're hoping to find another way to pop that Aegis, that's basically what? Desert Marshal or Permafrost or something like that if you brought
Yeah.
those in. So yeah, we just see the double Vanquish come out here. Serb sitting at 30, Tabu sitting at 9, but they've got an Obelisk in play. It's really a question of what else does Serb have in this hand. And there it
And
is,
there's the
Tavrod.
Tavrod.
Yep, Auric
Oh,
Broker. So here we go. Tabu can double block it profitably right now, but again, Serb's hand is all action. He played that depleted monument into a power. There's at least some backup for this Tavrod, and there we see it. The Bloodletter takes it out of blocking range, and Tavrod opens the vault and finds some more goodies for Serb, and this is looking real bad for Tobu.
yeah, absolutely. Tobu just wasn't able to get anything too big on the board, and he's just Yeah, just a little
Oh,
behind overall. And so
Tavrod
you
whiffed
said Tavrod
actually.
whiff. All right, well
Yeah,
that puts
there was a
that
weird delay on that animation, but he whiffed.
that puts this game a lot closer. Also, that I was just gonna mention, the blocks become terrible once Tavrod
Mhm.
gets that weapon on him, but it didn't matter.
Oh, there's the permafrost that got cited in that I alluded to, like is an okay answer to Bart, but not so much to Tavrod here. And
Yeah,
yeah, this is not a good spot for Tabu still.
yep. Permafrost absolutely great against Ardreport. Kills every card except for Tavrod. Except
Yep.
for the one card that you want to kill.
Yep. So Serb gets a second crack at it. Might have whiffed this first time, but it looks like it's going to find something good here. And again, Tabu has to jump block, is at 7, goes to 6 from this ticking instigator. And Tavrod either found more Tavrods and this is over, or it found weapons and this is over. And we see that Auric Runehammer demolished the Awakened Student, and that is all she wrote here.
Yeah, absolutely. There's
Like,
not
Scouting
a
Party
draw.
makes it cute, but it's not going to be enough. And yeah, it's just a seat instead. And all right, Argenport makes it to the top 8 at least. I think that's the only Argenport deck to make it into the top 8, but there were only 3 Argenport lists, so not a bad representation there. Can't all be TJP in the top 8. So yeah, Serb advances. Tobu just misses out, but still really well played by them. And we got our results for the other outstanding last match here
Oh
in the
wow.
losers bracket. Hythar takes out Komodo.
I mean, not to play favorites, but I am happy to see Hylar move on just because as a member of Team SPG,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But
As
that's gonna be our top 8, right?
that is the top 8. So we'll get to break down the bracket here that'll be right in front of us. We've got our top 8 locked up. Let me make sure I've got what decks they're on because somehow I haven't memorized it by this point. But in the winners bracket, we've got Bruised by God on that Xenon ramp deck. He's in the top 8. He's in the winners bracket. We've got Defter, who is on TJP mid range, in the top 8. Again, that Combre party deck, whatever you want to call it. Lights out Ace, our ringer here from aReNGee, who is on Xenon Interrogator in the winners bracket for top 8, as well as Thundershot on a take on Xenon Interrogator in the top 8 winners bracket. So that's our winners bracket. Over in the losers bracket, they're still all in do or die mode, but hey, still top 8 lock. Awesome spot to be in. We've got Serb, who we just saw take out Tobu. Serb on Argenport mid range. Hythar on Dark Combre. Visarius on TJP midrange, as well as Moose. So we're going to have a TJP midrange mirror down there. So 3 TJP midrange decks make it out of 9, I think, total. 2 Xenon Interrogator lists make it into the top. A Xenon ramp deck, Dark Combre, 1 Argenport list. That looks like our breakdown for this top 8.
Yeah, man, not a lot of fire in this top 8. In fact, there is not a single fire influence to be found in this top 8.
Yeah, Tony G had a shot at sneaking in, but it didn't quite work out. It's Time, Shadow, Justice, and a
Sometimes
little bit of Primal sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
But apparently we're having some production issues on this image, but still, we got all the information out here. So yeah, that is it for coverage today. And boy, we had a lot of awesome action. I think it lived up to our expectations. And this is going to be a fun top 8. But we still got our predictions for top 8 coming up. We've got some other information to break down about what coverage is going to be like tomorrow as we bring you every match tomorrow. We're not going to miss any action. We're going to bring every single match of the top 8 moving forward. So here we go with a breakdown of the top 8 predictions. And I guess Rakenna will be hopping in the booth soon as well. But
oh man, I can already see the image, and it doesn't look good for anybody.
It turns out, it's tough to predict tournaments. Like, predicting the meta is one thing, predicting who even wins after that is hard. But yeah, this looks like maybe some of the favorites didn't quite win out, but it got close. This could have looked
Oh yeah.
quite different if that last round played out differently. But here's the top 8 predictions from aReNGee, Rakenna, and Teehee. Nobody predicted that Lights Out Ace would make top 8. They
Except for
didn't
Lights
know
Out
the
Ace.
fix was in. Yeah, I did. I mean,
Yeah.
I may have been biased here, but yeah, Hythar, Visarius were picked by Hythar was picked by everybody to make top 8, and he did make top 8. Visarius was picked by Ricketter and aReNGee, made top 8, and then Komodo for Teehee made top 8, but the rest did not quite get there. A few people put their faith in, Darkness on Jito Queen. Turns out that didn't quite work out for them. But Komodo didn't. That slash out is just wrong. So T was 1 of 8, but Komodo didn't make it, right? Because Hythar took him out. So
Right.
that makes sense. Couldn't have Hythar and Komodo make top 8. But hey, shout out to Lights Out Ace for putting himself in there. And yeah, we have an unpredictable top 8. That's a good thing, I think. Some new names, some old names too. Just maybe not the old names we expected.
Yeah, this has been honestly a pretty exciting day of Eternal. It's not just like, oh, here's the predicted meta deck making it all the way. It's a lot of back and forth between all the matchups, a couple rogue decks sneaking in there as well. So it's been overall pretty cool.
Yeah, we're just in the new age of Xenon and TJP overlords, right? Time to go ask what should we ask to get nerfed? Obelisk again? Is that
nothing,
back to being?
Nothing. People should just play Stone Scar again.
All right. I mean, the only Stone Scar deck did terrible, man. It's
right.
clearly
Okay.
dead.
That deck. All right. You know what? I'm not gonna get started.
All right. So before we sign off for good, we've got our lovely magic man that makes it all happen, Rick Henner, here in the booth with us to help break down everything that's going on that already happened today and what to expect for tomorrow.
Indeed. Well, first I want to say, thanks everyone for sticking with us while we had our technical hiccups at the start of the stream. I know that's sometimes really rough, especially when we have delay, and sometimes OBS doesn't reconnect through the delay. And we lost a little bit of the stream at the very start. Once again, we are very sorry about that, and we believe we have the issue resolved. We made a couple of changes here and there after each time aReNGee's internet went down, and after the last change we made, it helped. So hopefully that will be the case tomorrow. So once again, thanks everyone for sticking with us. And of course, thanks to all the viewers as usual. I'd like to thank all the players and all of the viewers. Even the players that didn't make it to the Invitational today, everyone who plays in all our events, we are thankful for all of you. We're thankful for everyone who watches out there on Twitch for, we get 400 to 500 viewers for Invitationals, and that's insane. That's really great. So again, thanks for everyone who participates. Thanks for everyone who watches. Y'all are great. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't be doing this. And putting this tournament and stream on every week, especially for the Invitationals, is so fun. I'd also like to thank Miller Tool and Teehee, our usual producers. Unfortunately, Miller had a personal issue come up yesterday, and so aReNGee actually took the role of producer for today. He had to cancel some plans and throw together production at the last minute, and it wasn't perfect, but I think we did great in the end. I would also like to thank Mengar for our tiebreaker script and the deck image creation tool, and thank you to our video editor X Kirby for his weekly highlights. He'll have the entirety of this tournament up on Twitch VODs and YouTube in the next few days. And a huge thank you to our Twitch subs and Patreon backers. They make it possible for us to have the $250 prize pool we have at this event, and are a big portion of our $3,000 prize pool at Worlds, which a couple of lucky players at this event may punch their ticket to Worlds with their results. Our $20 Patreon backers are Chuck Hurst, Easy, Chris Kearns, Andre Pokai, Seek Power Gaming, and Frosty HS. And you can find our Patreon at www.patreon.com/RNGEternal. And finally, thank you for our casters today, who are Sir Rhino and Gabe, aka Calimdir, and a quick shout out to Bradykin, who was with us on the pre-show analyst desk this morning. Sir Rhino, do you have anything to say?
Yeah. Today's tournament was a lot of fun. As always, I'd like to thank aReNGee for letting me cast instead of play in the tournament. Of course, it's fun to have my own impact with brewing. You know, I'm excited for Lights Out Ace making it into the top 8 using a deck list that I had a pretty big hand in developing. So it's always fun to see that my ideas aren't all totally out there and stupid. They're just mostly out there and stupid. But if you liked my commentary and want to hear my voice more often, I stream every day over at my channel on Twitch. That's Sir Rhino on Twitch. So again, thank you all so very much for watching and being supportive and all the great feedback I get from tournaments coverage every week. And I hope to keep it up. Of course, for Worlds, I might not be in the booth quite as much as I am locked up for Worlds. So might dust off the gloves and get back in there and maybe show off some other deck now that the Xenon Interrogator deck is out there in the open. But either way, it's been a lot of fun. And again, I just want to thank everybody for running such an awesome tournament scene, having such a great community, and looking forward to the top 8 tomorrow.
Thank you, Rhino. And Calimdir, do you have anything to say?
Sure. I just want to say, thanks everybody for coming out and watching, and to all the players. It's been a cool tournament. It's a cool tournament every time. I have a lot of fun playing Eternal. As far as my content and things that I do right now, not super busy, but in the future, probably maybe even next week, I'll be trying to get back into that world, and it'll be fun to get back into potentially streaming or things like that. And I'm on Twitter. It's probably a good way to get to me. I'm trying to be more active on that. And it's all the same name. And you can find me on Twitter, Discord, or Reddit, all by Calimdir. And the more people interact with me, the more inclined I'll be to remember to keep interacting back and stuff. So definitely reach out to me. And also, you're going to catch me on Ladder playing a lot of Xenon decks because I've had a lot of fun with them lately. So thanks everybody for brewing up Xenon.
All right. Thanks, Gabe. And well, that is the end of the tournament for today. We will be resuming with losers bracket round 5 as our first as our starting matchup for tomorrow, and it will be Serb versus Haidar, followed by Visarius versus Moosh, and then we'll be going to winners bracket round 4 with Bruised by God versus Defter and Lights Out Ace versus Thundershot. Those are our first 4 matches of the day. As has been said, every match of day 2 of the top 8 is best of 5. Sideboarding happens after game 2, and we will be watching every single match, not just one match per round. So it'll be a great day of Eternal. We'll have a whole lot of Eternal content, but it actually goes by pretty quick because we can kind of seamlessly go from match to match to match to match. So hopefully there will be less delay, less downtime tomorrow. And once again, thank you all for watching. We have the World's Wildcard Tournament next Saturday and Sunday, and then Worlds on the following 2 weekends after that. So hit that follow button up above the stream and come check us out tomorrow and next weekend and the weekend after that for tournaments, and Wednesday and Thursday night with Lights Out Ace streaming. He plays ladder, he plays fun decks. He's a great guy, he's a great streamer. And hey, maybe after this weekend, he'll be able to say he's an invitational winner. But all right, everyone, have a good night.